DIRT TRAX TV is sponsored by Polaris, think outside. Can-Am, follow your path. Yamaha, revs your heart. And by Honda Power Sports, power your dreams, whatever the terrain.
When Can-Am released their 2025 Outlander new model lineup with the new G3 chassis and the new 101 horsepower dual overhead cam 1000R engine, I was excited yet skeptical that it could possibly be as different and impressive as Can-Am claimed it was. Would it live up to the hype, or was this just a minor evolution of the Outlander platform?
You know, a lot of OEM have been challenging a lot themselves in the side-by-side the business. The ATV industry have kind of been left over a bit in the recent year with this focus on the side-by-side. So we took the opportunity to develop what we thought was the best ATV on the market with this new platform. We wanted to answer to the high-performance, recreative consumer also with this new product. Of course, we wanted to bring up the engine performance, so deliver the maximum performance that we could under 1000 cc. With this new added performance, we wanted to add the best handling that we could possibly with this new unit. So we're bringing a brand new suspension system, delivering over 20% suspension travel versus the previous version. And we're also aligning a bit ourselves with the new technology that we have access to today, bringing a new touchscreen display, a new technology that you can control a bit more the engine and how the vehicle react with this new unit. And we're also stepping up in terms of accessorization with this new platform.
There are also two versions of this new motor as well, a 1000R and an 850. And while they are the exact same twin-cylinder dual overhead cam setups, the 1000R makes 101 horsepower, while the 850 has been detuned to 82. For anyone thinking 101 horsepower may be too much to handle, I can assure you it is not. Can-Am has tuned the throttle response and clutching perfectly to make power delivery buttery smooth and effortless to manage in any of the 3 throttle modes.
We always had the target of reaching the 3 triple-digit horsepower. I think it's a big number that a lot of consumers had in mind. And last year we were challenging ourselves with more HP, 2 more HP. So we decided to step up the game to the maximum we could. And we decided to do it also while keeping in mind the consumer needs. We know that we could have brought probably more horsepower, but we wanted that this engine could also handle lower quality fuel. First of all, between the 850 and 1000R, we're reusing exactly the same engine. The same 99 V-twin Rotax engine will be in both the same power pack execution, so the same engine at the base. CVT is a little different, so you will have a different calibration between the 850 1000R. Fan is also different between the 850 and the 1000R, so you will have a lot more cooling in the 1000R versus the 850. So this is more on the technical aspect of the power pack. We also have other important features that we added on the 1000R. So we will have the Visco 4-lock, the front differential, exclusive to the XT1000, whereas on the XT850 we'll have the Visco lock quick engage. All 1000R will also receive a 4-disc braking system. So this is a novelty that we're bringing with this new platform. We used to have 3-disc braking system on the G2 Plus platform. The 850 will keep the 3-disc braking system that has been improved, of course, versus the G2 Plus, but we have the 4-disc on all 1000R.
On top of the mechanical upgrades, the 1000R also gets a front sway bar, LED accent lighting, and a couple extra painted body panels, making the 1000R more than just a horsepower upgrade. The G3 Outlander comes in 5 different trim levels, including the base as an 850 standard length only, the DPS in both an 850 and 1000 standard and max chassis, the XT in both an 850 and 1000 standard and max chassis, the XTP as a 1000 only, but in both standard and max versions, and the limited in a 1000 max only. Finally, the XMR is now available in the short chassis, but comes with both the 850 or 1000R power. After riding both the Outlander XTP 1000R and the 850 DPS, I think the 2 things that impressed me the most are the ride and handling. The G3 chassis features a new double A-arm front suspension setup that produces an impressive 10.8 inches of travel. Out back, Can-Am has ditched their traditional trailing arms for a double A-arm setup as well, but in the rear it produces an incredible 12 inches of travel. Ride quality is extremely plush, possibly the smoothest ride I've ever experienced on a utility ATV. Also, handling is excellent. It's precise, but very predictable. And steering is light and feedback-free thanks to improved tri-mode DPS programming. The final two things that stood out to me about the new G3 Outlander are first, how configurable it is. You have 3 throttle modes, 3 intelligent engine braking levels, 3 power steering settings, and 3 settings for the Visco-Lock front diff. And second, it's the level of accessory integration. There are so many accessories available right now, but it's the way they've been thought out and how they fit on the vehicle that's just so slick and clean.
We have over 90 accessories that we've developed for the G3L, the Outlander 500, 700, that can also be used on this new platform. We've developed, as you mentioned, some specific accessories with this new unit. So we're now using in our front and rear rack, we now have drop down. So we have some space that goes into the rack. We're bringing some new cargo that is using the drop down with this new unit. When you're also doing some plowing, adding some track on the vehicle, everything have been pre-installed in order to really accessorize the plow or the track on the vehicle easily.
I can't say I've been this impressed with a new ATV introduction from any manufacturer in longer than I can remember. Every aspect of the Outlander G3 platform has been extremely well thought out and works exactly as promised. I'd even go so far as to say the new G3 Outlander is possibly the best 4x4 ATV this industry has ever seen.
Trail Tech is sponsored by Princess Auto. Make it work.
You know, lots of times I'll take you on a step-by-step through a build of an ATV or a side-by-side, but today I want to skip all of that. I've already done all the work and take you right to how we test all of those parts on an ATV or a side-by-side. And the base vehicle that I'm doing it on is a Maverick X3X DS Turbo. No, not the big turbo. This is the 130 horse version that a lot of times gets overlooked because it's not the biggest and the baddest, but it is one heck of a side-by-side. And if you check out my test ride of this X3 I did earlier this year, you'll see that while it's the more entry-level X3, really there's nothing entry-level about it. Now from the factory, this side-by-side really doesn't have any specific discipline. It's just a sports side-by-side. So I wanted to add some parts and pieces that were gonna help me do something that I really wanted to do with it. And with a world-class rock crawling facility only minutes from our headquarters, I thought, why not increase the rock crawling potential and the creature comforts of this X3 to focus on rock crawling. Now keep in mind, I'm using the 130 horse Mav, not the Turbo R, and I still want to enjoy this thing out on the trails. So no huge tires, no lift kits, nothing crazy. Just things that someone wanting to go out and have some fun crawling would appreciate their X3 being equipped with. Now some of the things that I opted for right up front was definitely putting a roof on. The sport roof is really important because it keeps the sun off us when we're out crawling around, and it also keeps the sun's glare from getting in my eyes when I'm crawling. Now add to that the little half sport windshield, which goes on so easy. Honestly, this thing clips on and off so simply afterwards. And that helps to keep some of the wind off of me and mud if I get it in areas that are really muddy and wet. But it also allows airflow, and I can still have that line of sight should that windscreen get covered in mud or dirt when I'm out riding. So I really appreciate that. Now on top of it, I have the center pod screen holder, which will hold any cell phone or an iPad of any size. And this is really handy too, because when I'm out ripping around, I can bring up trail maps, I can bring up whatever I need to right on that screen, and it's easily accessible right in front of my face. Plus, it gives me a nice handy little dash pocket to store stuff in, and there's a 12-volt accessory right there behind it. Now, I also opted for installing a winch because, well, it's important to have on any side-by-side, but especially if you're gonna get a little wild with climbing and try some things that you might not have thought possible. Using a factory Can-Am ordered Warn VRX 45S winch, I'm able to hook onto my 50 feet of synthetic line to anything around me to help keep the Maverick from getting too out of control over the really big rocks. And truthfully, it's not always about me. If I get to the top of an obstacle and need to help as an anchor point for another person coming through, then I'm ready to go with my 4,500 pounds of pulling capacity, and the all-metal design Warn incorporates. Don't forget, they also now utilize the same internal clutch system as the legendary Warn locking hubs, and that's the kind of history that you can stand on. Now, as you've probably already noticed, I do have a really nice front bumper on this Maverick. This is a Can-Am S3 front bumper. It's 1.5 inch steel tube frame that's powder coated for durability. It's a really nice front bumper. It's got a bash plate on the bottom. It has a nice winch hook here so that I can keep my winch up and out of the way and easy to access should I get in mud or when I'm crawling, so I can grab that hook really simply. And the other thing is, It takes a winch right from the factory. You don't have to buy any accessory mount. This whole bumper is a winch mount. So that's really simple and easy. Also has the mount for the fairlead. Now on top of this, I know if I get too close to stuff, which is gonna happen, I'm not gonna rip the expensive front plastics off of my Maverick. Now I added in some Lone Star Racing rock sliders as well because, well, not just because they look so good, but because we're rock crawling and these lower plastics are always vulnerable in these situations. I hate the thought of carving up these powder-coated 1.5-inch tube steel sliders, but that's what they're there for. And they go on so easily that if you need to pull them off each season and give them a bit of a touch-up because you're actually using them, well, that's what they were designed for, so be it. Now another obvious accessory is the huge rear rack for this side-by-side, and the cool thing is that when I add this rack on, I double my storage. Super handy, and it tilts out of the way. Having the link pivoting rear rack gives me all kinds of options. I could carry a spare tire up there with the spare tire strap kit that's included, load up a storage trunk, or as I'm doing today, I can put my big 8-gallon roto-molded and foam-insulated link cooler up on the first level to carry my drinks on ice, but then have the upper level completely accessible for all kinds of stuff that I might want to bring along. The rack also pivots to give you better access to the lower storage deck and easy access to strapping down gear, or if you're using the 8-gallon cooler like me, allows the lid to open easily. One cool Link add-on that I suggest you never leave home without is the Link Toolkit. This is the smartest little setup that snaps into your Link bases and gives you a really thought-out selection of tools that can come in very handy for trailside repairs. Maybe you blew a belt and you need to get that clutch cover off, maybe your buddy has something coming loose, or heck, you're out at the cabin and the generator needs some fixing. This kit is very well equipped and I'm certain will never be something you regret having along. And trust me, your buddies will thank you when the inevitable question comes up, hey, does anyone have any tools? You know, it's always nice to add accessories that can help you to do something better. And today I definitely increased the rock crawling potential, but the truth is all of these accessories are just gonna make every day out on the trail that much more fun with my Maverick. And it doesn't hurt that they're genuine Can-Am accessories, so you know that they're gonna fit.
Dirt Tracks has been sponsored by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. And BRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap. And by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength.
Today I've got my whole family coming over for a bonfire, and unfortunately for me, I've been pretty heavily neglecting my bonfire pit for the past year. So my job for today is to clean up my bonfire pit, find some wood to burn for a bonfire, and generally clean up my yard. Now doing that would generally be not a very nice job, especially today because it's hot. But luckily for me, I have the perfect tool for the job. Polaris claims that their Ranger lineup is the smoothest riding and hardest working. Now I've definitely tested the smoothest riding claim many times, and you've seen that in my test rides. Today though, I'm going to be focusing almost entirely on hardest working and see if that claim rings true. Today is hot. I'm talking really hot. And while no one likes manual labor on a hot day, having a place to cool off between jobs makes these days far less unpleasant. If you haven't already noticed, this is a NorthStar Ranger. This is a 2025 XP 1000 NorthStar Ultimate Edition, so it has all the bells and whistles. But one thing I gotta say is that while it does have heat, we're not gonna need that today. It's hot enough outside. The thing I'm most excited about is the air conditioning. And the air conditioning works great in this cab. It cools down super fast, and the fully sealed cab does a great job of keeping the heat out and the cold air in. The ProShield cab system itself is very nicely assembled. Of all the cab-equipped side-by-sides I've driven over the years, this is one of the quietest and most rigid. There are no squeaks or rattles. The front and rear shields are glass, and the front flips out into multiple positions. It also includes a windshield wiper with sprayer. The roof is carpeted on the inside, which looks nice and helps deaden sound, and power windows are standard. A really nice change Polaris made to the NorthStar models for 2025 is that they added a variable speed air conditioning compressor. This means the whole system is way more efficient at creating cool air, even at idle. Another thing I really like about the Ranger cab is that it's super easy to get in and out of. The doors open incredibly wide. The latches are really easy to find and easy to use. And as you can see, there's nothing in my way as I get in and out. When you're working in your yard, you're getting in and out multiple times, over and over, all day long. And this cab makes it super easy. You don't even have to think about it. The Ranger XP 1000 NorthStar has Polaris's trusted and proven 82 horsepower 999cc twin under the hood. It has 3 throttle profiles that include work, standard, and performance. Now, performance is fun for faster riding, and standard is where you'll spend most of your time if you're out riding recreationally, but work mode is where I'll have it set today. When you combine the ultimate throttle smoothness with Polaris's excellent on-demand true 4x4 system's turf mode, you can drive around on your lawn all day without doing much damage. For 2025, Polaris's Ranger XP line gets their new Gen 2 transmission, which shifts 50% easier than their previous version. And I can tell you right now, after working all day with this thing shifting from forward to reverse, that ease of shifting is very much welcomed. But the truth is, for today, the biggest feature of the Ranger that I'm interested in is its box. And this one is great. It's really big, it's super deep, it can haul 1,000 pounds, it has all kinds of tie-down points around it, as well as lock and ride points for accessories all around the outside. The one-handed tailgate opens effortlessly and locks shut positively without having to slam it. The tilt lever is easy to reach on both sides, and the bed is hinged in a way that makes it easy to pivot even when it's really full. If the work you need to do involves towing, a full-size 2-inch hitch receiver and towing capacity of 2,500 pounds opens up a world of possibilities. Man, Graham, I know we're shooting a story here, but I really am looking forward to getting into that cab with some air conditioning. Oh, it's so hot. If only people knew what it takes to shoot these test rides. Interior comfort is outstanding with nicely bolstered seats that are adjustable on the driver's side and can be flipped up to create more interior storage room on the passenger side. The steering wheel tilts, and the ultimate package's included JBL Trail Pro 2000 audio system keeps your mood up even when the job at hand is getting you down. All right, fire pit's done. Now we gotta go find some firewood, and for that, we gotta go for a bit of a ride. I know I said today we were gonna be testing Polaris's claim about the Ranger that it is the hardest working. But even when you're working, you'll appreciate a nice smooth ride. So we're gonna test the claim of smoothest ride as well. Double A-arms front and rear produce 10 inches of travel at both ends, and all ends are damped by a set of preload only adjustable shocks. Now these shocks have the compression damping set very soft. The ride is extremely plush. It's very comfortable. And the 5-position preload adjusters on the shocks are going to be a welcome thing for you if you want to work with your Ranger XP, because as soon as you load the box up with 1,000 pounds worth of whatever, you're going to need to bump the spring preload up to help reduce the sag that's inevitable. 29-inch Pro Armor X-Terrain tires are wrapped around 14-inch aluminum wheels. Now these are a great all-round tire that are well suited to the dual work and play personality of the Ranger. With that said, they're an aggressive tread that isn't as easy on your lawn as they could be. Even with turf mode selected, these tires are just really gnarly, so you better be careful. Now, Polaris's Ultimate Package Ranger comes with a whole bunch of other features that make working and recreating a lot more fun and more convenient. For example, this one comes with a 4,500-pound Polaris HD winch with auto magnetic fair lead and synthetic cable. It also has multiple ways of actuating it with a dash-mounted switch and a wireless remote. And finally, Polaris's industry-leading 7S display with ride command is also standard. Now, as I worked today, I found myself wishing I had a rear view camera. And that's one thing that's conspicuously missing from this Ultimate package. It doesn't include one. The Bluetooth audio and message center in the 7S display were very welcome features though. This is what it's all about, right? If I had to do all of the things that I did today without a Ranger NorthStar, I can pretty confidently say I'd be exhausted right now, and it'd be really hard for me to enjoy the fruits of my labors, which is a really nice time with my whole family around a bonfire. And since this is what life is supposed to be all about, I'm really glad I did have a Ranger NorthStar, and I'm pretty confident you would be too.